Hi, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
WokeNFree.
Thank you for tuning in to our 212th episode of WokeNFree. If you've been tuning in every week for WokeNFree Wednesday, you know that WokeNFree is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week, we're asking a really interesting question, which is, what are the origins of magic? But before we dive deep into the subject, a couple of things to cover. First, have you gone to WokeNFree.com to not only listen to this episode, but make sure you've downloaded it? If you download it, that's how you're able to join the conversation through the Podbean app, because you can put in your comments. So how cool is that? Make sure you guys do that. Also, if for some reason you can't download a new app onto whatever device you catch podcasts on, then make sure you at least are going to WokeNFree.com on the listen tab so you can pick your platform of choice to where you want to support the show at. So for instance, we get a lot of love on iTunes. We are on TuneIn. We're on Stitcher, Google Play. Of course, our YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora. Oh gosh, I like literally it's a WokeNFree world, guys. So just make sure you do that. Now, of course, if you haven't already, when you are on WokeNFree.com, please click subscribe, because that's how you're able to follow the show again through the Podbean app, which we greatly appreciate that support. And then on social media, you can always find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. Yes, I said TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at WokeNFree. And then if you have like 90 seconds, which, guys, it's COVID-19, like pandemic, you have 90 seconds. You have 90 minutes. Make sure you go to WokeNFree.com. And again, you can kind of review the show on whichever platform you'd like to on the listen tab. And with that, I'm going to kick it back to you, Khalil.
All right, I'll pick it up from here. Before we start this conversation, let's share a little bit about ourselves. Mm-hmm. So this week, you know what we're going to ask? Would you rather divulge family secrets or details of your love life in your tell-all book?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. Like, which side of your ass do you want to show? You're essentially like the dark, dirty family secrets that most of us have, or how freaky are you in the bedroom? Interesting. Oh, man. That's really hard. I guess I actually would have to go for the latter, not the former. So yeah, let's do a sex tell-all, because that's provocative and I say inappropriate things all the time. So why not?
That's your reason? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. How about you?
All right. I will go with the last thing, because I don't think of it about that it's sex or about what I'm talking about, but I think of it in the terms of my family secrets aren't mine to tell. It's their secrets, though. Oh, I don't have, I'm not sharing that stuff if it's something that they did. I can't, I don't know. I feel that's kind of wrong. That's true.
It's not your
compared
secret
to having to share my own stuff. That's on me, you know? So that's why I go with the second. Is just, that's messed up to out people like that.
Yeah.
I think it's not right.
Interesting.
Yeah, you can't do that kind of stuff. And plus, what's cool about my love life is it's magical. It's almost like that's where magic came from. So that's what's cool.
What kind of transition is Also, which good? Love life do you have? Are you talking about?
The only love that I have, my lover.
I don't think you should refer to your son that way.
What are you talking about? We're talking about my love life. We're not talking about.
I love it.
We're not talking about
never
passion.
Refer to me. You always have third party names.
What? That's the name you like to go by.
Lover?
Yeah, magical lover is
magical
specifically.
Lover. I go by magical lover?
Yeah, that's what you like to call yourself.
I think you call me that.
Oh, wow. It feels like it's a name that you came up with.
Feels like nice.
Yeah.
Freudian slip there.
What? It does feels like you're the one who came up with that name.
Sure. I don't know if feels is the best word
oh, really?
to say in this context.
Oh,
but you're calling me a magical lover.
That's just what I think, though.
This is getting wildly inappropriate, and I think that we should hit the first question.
Well, yeah, because we're talking about magic, so maybe we should go into what are the origins of magic.
Okay, so I found on CW Magic, it's a UK blog, they detail the history of magic, and they say the following. Magic has a long and varied history and has captivated and enthralled people for over 2,500 years. The first recorded magic act was by the magician Dedi, who performed his tricks in ancient Egypt in 2700 BC. He's credited with the first cups and balls magic trick. While there's some dispute over whether he actually performed this trick or not, he was renowned for bringing birds back to life by first decapitating them and then reattaching their heads. So, if that didn't scare you for the day, I don't know what will. But dope as hell to find out that magic, like everything else, began in Africa.
Yeah, motherland.
Yes, our peoples. What up?
Yeah, it's a huge place. It's a really big continent, so
big up
that's why a lot of
Egypt.
stuff came from there. You don't even realize. Don't look at your maps. You can't really tell. But Africa is huge.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid, guys.
It's hard to tell.
This is where magic began. So that is amazing. How about you? What do you?
I mean, that's good to talk about the origins, but I like to also talk about like the etymology of the actual magic term. So from etymology online, they say that magic is the art of influencing or predicting events and producing marvels using hidden natural forces. And it goes on to say, for second definition, it's natural magic was considered the opposite of witchcraft, actually. It was the manipulation of the natural forces, which today could be explained by science. So I think the original magicians, they were seen as scientists and not people that called on, like it's kind of like we flipped how we think of magic now. Now we think of magic as
fantastical,
either like witchcraft or something that isn't science, but originally magic was science, actually. It was you using forces to do feats that not everybody could do. Okay. And if we go to the history, though, the first American magician was actually an African American named Richard Potter, according to aaregistry.org. Okay. And officially, his best-known illusion was crawling through a log, and Potter could also skillfully throw his voice. He was a ventriloquist, basically.
Very cool.
Especially using bird sounds. And whether he was the first to actually use the ventriloquist doll or dummy, it's not known, but this is either way. I never knew that this was the first magician on this American land, soil, place.
So either way, Black history is very much tied within the origins of magic. Yeah. So that's super interesting because I did not know that growing up. And you would never know that if you ever watch a witch film or television series.
Yeah. Ever. You don't know the actual origins.
I think only the recent remake of the what is that called? It's not The Craft. It's
the House on Haunted Hill.
No, the Charmed, where they have Latina, and then one of the sisters is Afro Latina. Is the first time or one of the few times I've seen Black integration within the display or the of showing magic and our community. Normally it's not our community involved, but good to know that is different. So. Yeah. That begs the question of why do you believe the origin story is not commonly known, at least here in the United States? I
don't think the story of magic is actually discussed. That's what I think it is. I think it's just people just find it alluring, like watching magicians perform. They don't want to really think about when did it originated. They just want to say, wow, how did they do that? And is there some secret behind it? Are they actually calling on some sort of arts that we don't know about? I think people are more intrigued with that rather than who's the original. Yeah, so they don't really, but the only thing they'll go into sometimes is like maybe who was the best magician of the past, but they never, then I don't think people are really so interested in who was the first, who did magic first. That's the thing.
You are now listening to WokeNFree.
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 WokeNFree. WokeNFree.
A podcast that gets real and personal.
For me, I think it comes down to a couple of things. First, the lack of diversity in the executive boardrooms, right? Who decide what shows and films get produced in media are typically not the most diverse groups of people. And like anything else, right? Stories that you want to share stories that reflect your community. So if the producers and the people in charge of making media are not diverse, then do they really have an interest in sharing and showcasing diverse stories? No, right? Black stories want to be mostly told by Black people. So it makes sense, right? That we don't necessarily see, let's integrate, people of color within the conversation in media around magic. Next, I think that there is like a real obsession around the Salem witch trials and, that narrative. And so because of that obsession, there just seems to be a preponderance of content around showing, white females as the villain within this narrative of, right, they were the women who, and not to say that there weren't black women, because I do think Tituba or whatever, there was like a couple of black.
I don't know what that means. What you just said.
That you haven't heard about that? There was a witch and her house slave or something or whatever servant. Tituba is like a famous known.
Okay, I don't know.
It was shown in I forget one of the shows I was watching.
Are you sure you're saying the right name though?
I don't know if I'm saying it correctly now. But I thought her name was Tituba. But there isn't much conversation again around witchcraft outside of like white women from that like Salem, Massachusetts area. And I think that they just love to reinvent and reshare that narrative. There's just like a little bit of an obsession there. And then also, to your point, I think there's a lack of authenticity in storytelling, right? Why tell a real story or the history of something when you can make up something, right? Because when you tell a real story, then you actually have to like do research and authenticate it, and that takes work. And
it is a lot of work.
Is it really going to make more money? Is it going to get more views? Is it going to get more clicks on social media? Or is it better to make sure that you can get the mass amount of attention to the story that you create and curate? I think that people are more interested in having content go broad and wide, not necessarily authentic.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, why do you think it's important to know the origins of magic?
I mean, I think it's good to know how things actually happen. Then you can learn where the pitfalls and the springboards existed. So we can learn ways to mesmerize people of our times and keep them intrigued with this old school stuff that they'd never seen before. Because yeah, you were mentioning things that I don't think magicians of today even do. They don't decapitate birds and reattach their heads.
Oh my.
So see, that's good. You learned this.
Peter would have a conversation with them.
Yeah, but obviously you're not really doing that, right? There's magic. No, because you got to say no animals were harmed in the performance of this magic.
Oh yeah, that would not be good.
But you could do certain things like that and get people real scared, and then they're like, wow, I mean, this is just some sort of wizardry.
Exactly.
That's what you could do. But I just think you can impress people with some of that old school stuff. People are always fascinated with old school things. So Same thing with magic. Just bring back some classics.
Yep. So again, comes down to the following for me. Knowledge is power in that you can act with it, right? So if for me as a black woman, it seems super empowering to know that like I come ancestrally from a community that founded magic. So like, wow, like what else can I not do? I think it's a form of self-empowerment. I think it's a form of also enabling me to say, well, what dreams do I want to do? What fantastical things do I want to do? Because I have that lineage running through my veins today. So I think that it's empowering. I think also it's something that broadens your knowledge of the community you're a part of, right? I think a lot of times being, I'm a Jamaican American, but, I'm not technically, I guess, African American, but I am and I'm not, right? Like, so it's super hard there.
Yeah, you are African American.
I am, I guess, but I'm also, my family and like ethnically, I guess I'm Jamaican American, right? Yeah, but race-wise, I guess, yes, I'm African American. And, our community, the African American community, really struggles with having any type of lineage to where we came from before and what we did before, because we are not educated on the full broad and spectrum of what Black history is, globally speaking. So again, here's another point that you can look to and look back to and say, hey, this is what I did. This is what I come from. Because it's really hard to feel empowered in your community when you don't know what your community is about or what it's done. So there's more information for our community. And then also I think you can have a greater appreciation for the craft of magic, right? Like I think, if now that I've learned this information, I can look at it with a different set of lens and a different eyes on it. So yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, guys. Scenario 1. Akeem heard through the grapevine that magic originated when the Knights of the Round Table sat in feast after a grand battle and empowered their king's wizard with a godly power. Is this the true origin of magic unheard by the masses?
Did you take this from a movie?
How would you say that?
Wait a minute. The rounded, wait a minute, come on.
Yeah.
Are you talking about, what was that called?
What, not King Arthur?
Yes.
This isn't related to that.
Or the Da Vinci Code
the sword and the stone?
or something, yes. Like, whatever.
This is no Da Vinci Code here.
This is
no
fantastical and this is not true. This is false.
But do people believe this? That's
this
the
is
thing.
fraudulent lies. These are
people
fraudulent
follow
lies.
a lot of the we didn't get to mention it about just the magical elves and stuff. We didn't.
You talking
even
about
go into
Lord
that.
of the Rings?
Yeah, we didn't go into that whole kind of magic fantasy
Yeah.
realm that people believe in. So if some people might believe that's where magic comes
yes,
from.
I mean, I think a lot of people believe a lot of different stuff. So I think it's possible that people believe this, but no, this is not true.
Oh, it's not true, though.
No, it started in Africa. Get your life.
Oh, okay. So there was no grand battle and a holy feast after.
Maybe, sure, whatever.
Oh, so that's what you're going to tell Akeem? You're going to tell him this?
Who?
Akeem.
Oh, okay.
Why did you say that? Don't say that about him. Come on.
I don't know what to tell you, Akeem. Do some research.
That's what you tell him? Do research? So,
do your homework.
But so believe it first and then research later.
Don't believe it first. Question it. Do some research. And then after you've done some research, make the decision and determination as to whether or not this is true, valid information.
Okay. Now, this one to me is like a trick question. So if he's asking about the origin in reality, then it would be no. But the origin in the video game, that could be true. This could be a real thing. If this is a video game or a book he's reading,
Gotcha.
I don't know.
Okay.
But that's the only thing I'd ask him. Are you asking for reality or for non-reality?
That's a hell of a retort. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's what I would ask. And then we could get to the bottom of that.
Okay.
Scenario 2. Zbigniew believes in magic, but was told many conflicting stories of where it came from. He is big into medieval fantasies and was told there are elves that live on Mount Kilimanjaro who first performed magic, which they shared with humans. Should he believe this story, since he loves fantasy material?
No.
That's your answer to it?
No, move on.
Oh, wow. But even with the Mount Kilimanjaro in there, you don't think that's like a...
I think people need
real?
to stop buying sand at the beach and they need to get their lives in order.
Wow.
And figure out the fact that we are told a lot and most of it is false. And that there are misconceptions. And sometimes people tell you things and they don't mean to be wrong, but they are. And then sometimes they are intentional and manipulative. But this is, no. Just no. And your thoughts?
My thoughts are elves aren't real, so this is how I know this is false.
Yeah.
And I'd have to tell them to move on because elves are fake. So they'll believe the hype. Scenario 3. Shantia loves to go to magic shows because she believes magic is real. She thinks magicians draw on energy from another plane to perform supernatural feats. Would telling her about the origins of magic break her heart?
Probably.
Wow, that's unfair.
I mean,
That's a very sad thing.
oh God. Magic is real because reality is your perception. And in her perception, if she perceives it to be real, then it is real. I think people make the mistake of trying to classify reality objectively, and it's actually really subjective assessment that has to take place. So if that's her perspective, then it is real. And no, the origins of magic shouldn't break her heart in the sense of that it happened really in Africa, but she can see it performed in front of her in Ohio. I mean, right? Like at the end of the day, where it started doesn't defile or change where you see it performed. It's just know the true root is, Assalamu alaikum. Like,
So that doesn't change your beliefs then. Learning the origin doesn't change what you believe about magic.
I mean, it can and it can't, right?
Because if you learned that it came from a place that started science, once you believe that, magic, it must not be really magical and mystical. It's actually based off of stuff that can be studied and
depends.
reproduced.
I think you could argue both ways.
Okay.
How about
you? Yeah, I don't think it'll break her heart, actually, because she'll just say the original people who perform magic, they were magical. That's what she would think. She'll just say they were drawing on energy, which I don't think that's what's happening, but that's good for her. She can think that's how magicians do their trick. She doesn't have to believe that it's just a form of illusions, but it's up to her. That's her prerogative, but her heart should not be broken from that. That'd be crazy if it was.
Oh my gosh, guys. We are at that time again. It's coming to the end of our 212th episode of Woke and Free. Quite the episode discussing a really interesting question. What are the origins of magic?
Come back next week for the new Woke and Free Wednesday episode. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for Woke and Free Wednesday to join the conversation at WokeNFree.com.
If you'd like to be a guest on the show, make sure you submit a topic for an upcoming episode, or just share how you feel about our current episodes on our Contact Us page at WokeNFree.com. That's WokenFree.com, guys.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do. Share the episode, and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for Woke and Free Wednesdays. Remember, Woke and Free is more than a podcast. It is a way of life. Until next time.
And it is magical.